Follow up in the Big Game Hunter, Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, live on No BS Job Search Advice Radio, live on YouTube, and live using Periscope. It's a time where I spend about 15 minutes speaking with you about some element of job search, because I believe job hunting doesn't have to be hard, difficult, painful, take a long time, or be a pain in the ass. So today's show is going to be brought to you by Audible, audibletrial.com/The Big Game Hunter, and you get a free trial to Audible, a free download of a book. So audibletrial.com/The Big Game Hunter. Next, I also want to mention my other sponsor, consultingassignments.com, which is a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world, completely free. Posting a job or a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is free. The ability to contact one another is free. The only thing the site charges for is if you're going to feature a job or a resume, it is $10 for 30 days. So again, consultingassignments.com. So that's it for the the paid people for this show. Let's get on to you. Now, for a lot of you, you're going to be put into situations where you're going to be interviewed over breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, something along those lines, where there's a meal involved. You're not going to someone's office and sitting down and being interviewed across the desk. You're someone who's going to be, brought to a different place away from offices to be spoken with. Now, there's a different dynamic to an interview over a meal than there is to one where it's being done in an office. So I want to talk with you today about some of the ways to prepare for these things and how to be smart about it. So when I'm representing someone for a job and we're scheduling interviews, lunch interviews tend to be complicated because people just are not comfortable in this milieu. Ooh, milieu, $10 word. So in point of fact, the interview is really very easy. And I'm just going to try and make it easy for you to do a couple of things. So the first thing, and this should be obvious, but I'm going to tell you, judging by people's behavior, it's not so obvious. And that is, arrive on time. If you're going to be late, call ahead. Provide an explanation, apologize, explain the lateness, like the cab driver got lost, there was an accident that caused it, whatever it is. Just tell people that you're going to be late. No one likes to sit around waiting for someone and not be absolutely sure this person's coming. There's an anxiety that builds up, and it's just damn rude. So that's the first thing. Also want to mention that if you haven't met before, you have to have some sort of distinguishing way that the two of you can recognize one another. So figure that out in advance so they know that you're the guy who's, in my case, 5'10", who's wearing the black headhunter hat as part of the regalia I'm going to walk in with. That I've got a goatee and I'm an old guy. In your case, since it's a job, I'm just going to very simply say skip the identifying characteristics, like the old guy, and just go into something that you're going to be wearing. When you're introduced to your host, make eye contact. Give them a great handshake, big smile, be friendly and affable. One of the things that happens in an in-person interview that makes it a little bit easier is that everyone's predisposed to a favorable experience because it's a little bit lighter, because it's in a social setting. Now, for you, that's a mistake if you fall prey to that, because you need to remember that this person you're meeting with is there to evaluate and assess you. So at the end of the day, you just can't be in a situation where you're relaxed and calm and they're going, to themselves and evaluating you. You're going to come across like a jerk. So remember, your responsibility there is to make them fall in love with you professionally and like you personally. No ifs, ands, buts about it. That's your major goal here. So that's where your focus has to be, and it's not about what a great chai tea they have. If it distracts you away from delivering your message of competence and delivering your ability to connect with people on this at this meeting. So, when all is said and done, you're giving them the friendly handshake, the great eye contact. If it's a group situation that you're going to be seated in, ask where they'd like you to sit so that they're in the comfortable position and they're able to select where they'd like you to be. Sometimes in a round table, they prefer to be facing the door with you having your back to it, or the other way around. Frankly, from your perspective, I think you'd be better off facing inward rather than outward toward the door, so that this way you're not distracted and they're watching your eyes pop up as you're noticing people coming into the dining room or into the restaurant. Better to just be focused on them. Let them get a little bit distracted with that kind of stuff, but you can't afford to be. If this is an individual interview, it's a lot easier. But again, try to face in a way that you're not going to wind up being distracted by other things or other situations. If you're having breakfast, lunch, or dinner rather than coffee, tea, or a drink, I always tell people, don't pick the most expensive item on the menu. At the end of the day, it causes people to think that you're being a pig on someone else's expense account. Doesn't have to be the most expensive item. It could be the second most expensive item. Very simply, put yourself in the position where you're choosing something that you're going to enjoy or something that's, quote, middle of the road. If you're going out for drinks afterwards, very simply, if you can, avoid the alcoholic beverage. Let them have the alcoholic beverage, and you be in a situation where you're able to keep your wits about you. I know you may be used to having a couple of pops, but what's your point here? Really, what's the point here? Is it about having fun, or is it about selling your business to this organization, selling your business, your ability to solve problems to this organization so that you can be effective? I think it's the latter, not the former. So there's going to be some version of chit chat that's going to go on, and then they're going to segue into the business part of the conversation. So when I try to start the Q&A, I start by thanking them for taking time to meet with you, and very simply say, thanks for making time to come in today, and I want to kind of switch into the business part of our conversation. They may do it in a different way. If you're starting to become antsy about time and whether or not this is meeting what they're looking for, you can just simply say, I've noticed we're sitting here having a great time, and don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying it. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you're here to evaluate me for something, and I want to make sure that you have time before you have to rush off. If they say, no, that's okay, I just want to get to know you a little bit better, great. Don't relax yet. Again, your job is to sell. But at the same time, just be aware that they're always critiquing you and you're always selling. Now, in choosing that food item I mentioned before, where I said don't go for the most expensive item on the menu, don't go for the sloppy item as well. The thing that that has the barbecue sauce that's going to be all over your face during the interview. Not a good choice. Lobster, crab legs, not a good choice. You're basically there with ooze on your hands and looking, just trying to cope with that. And you're wearing the stupid bib as well. Not a good way to do it. So again, choose items from the menu that are going to be smart, given the fact that you're there to sell. Really that simple. You are there to sell. Don't always speak about what you've done. Speak about what you've done in the context of what they're looking for. You've already had a couple of interviews with them. You have a pretty clear idea of what they're looking for. Make it clear for them. So, when all is said and done, if you're just talking about what you've done, but don't tie the bow for them, you're making a huge mistake. Always focus in on what matters to them, which is filling that job, which has certain requirements that will need you to do such and such function. Always talk about what you've done that will solve that kind of a problem for them. So when food arrives, we always come to that magic moment. Food is going to arrive, and you can pause and say, please feel free to ask me questions. I'll put my knife and fork down and we'll continue. Now, they may say, no, enjoy your meal. We'll pick up afterwards when we get the coffee. Are you sure? I'm okay with it. Yeah, we're sure, fine. If they say thank you, and they'll continue the conversation. Each time they're asking you a question that's going to require you to speak, make the point of putting your knife and fork down and selling to them. Remember, everything is about winning this opportunity. Now, if you notice that every time they're doing this is the moment you're putting the fork up to your mouth, there's a message in that. And I'm telling you point blank, they're doing it intentionally. So I would pause and say, I'm happy to do this any way you like. And you have a smile on your face the third time they do it. And just put your knife and fork down and continue answering their questions. No, it's okay. No, I'm fine with this, and just answer their questions. Later on, you'll get to the food. Coffee and dessert is normally a big time when they're going to be asking you questions. Just be aware of it. Generally, avoid dessert, even if others are ordering. Basically sweet things, after dinner drinks, things along those lines have a way of causing interviews to go badly. At the end of the day, I keep repeating this, but I've heard way too many stories about it. You always want to be focused on winning the job and not on getting a meal on someone else's dime. So eventually the bill arrives, someone from the hiring firm picks up the bill, and I want you to just look at them as they do so and say, thank you. Real simple, thank you. It's just proper manners, because although this is a business situation and you're in effect the client here, it's just the correct manners. And before everyone separates at the coat check, offer to pay the coat check for everyone. They'll probably say, no, that's all right, and let it go. But again, good manners to do that. Now, you get home that night, you talk to 2 or 3 different people, send a thank you letter to them. Thank you for making the time to meet with me. I enjoyed talking with you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, provide a phone number for that. Also simply say, I noticed you covering a couple of points during the interview. I want to kind of summarize my experience that relates to what matters, that would seem to matter to you. And thus you talk about some of the points that you made and enhance them in this cover letter. So the cover letter can actually be fairly long because it's a sales document here. It's not just simply, hey, thanks for allowing me to come over and have a free meal on your dime. No, it's about very simply persuading someone that they want to hire you, and thus this thank you letter is a great tool. And I want to say, only send the thank you letter if you're interested. If you're not interested in the job, allow the absence of the thank you letter to be a signal to them that you're not particularly interested. So those are my tips about interviewing over breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, drinks, what have you. And I want to say that I've got a lot more advice on my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. Come over to the site and go exploring. I've got articles there, podcasts, video, a lot of information to help you find work more quickly. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request at linkedin.com/in/thebiggamehunter. And if your current firm is trying to hire someone, email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Let's figure out a time to speak or who I should speak with and their phone number. I want to help you for current firm staff positions. Last point, many of you are stuck in your job search and don't know quite what to do. You're just not getting results using the techniques you've been using up until this point. I want to suggest go to my website, which is again thebiggamehunter.us. I've got a service there on the site called Job Search Makeovers. It's a complete review of everything that you've been doing as part of your job search. Hire me to do a makeover. I want to help you. I want to help you avoid making mistakes. So I'm Jeff Altman. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you have a great day.